concerned about these 6, 7 kids. They're out there doing tricks on my street, on our street.
Drifting?
Yes, I saw one of them gritty past my begonias. Another did a, what do you call it, a Riz face? I don't know what it means, but I know it's...
Every generation has its thing. Millennials had rawr and ooh. Gen Z has the entire Riz dynasty, and now Generation Alpha, the iPad kids, have the number 6, 7. And they're using it with a level of confidence that I never had about anything when I was their age. Kids are walking through the halls of school screaming 6, 7. Even I'm doing the hand motions now. The parents are confused, the teachers are traumatized, and boomers are Googling it trying to figure out if it's a satanic ritual or not. So much so that crypt keepers all over the continent are at homeowners association meetings saying things like this.
I am deeply concerned about the kids riding those electric bikes around the neighborhood yelling 6, 7. No one knows what it means, but it must be stopped.
Oh my God.
And somewhere out there, an 11-year-old is whispering 6, 7 to a stranger in Walmart. TLDR, 6, 7 means nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is no secret code. There's no dangerous message. There's no forbidden meaning. It's just pure noise. And that is exactly why it works. Let's get into it. Dismantling hate starts now. Six, 7 technically started because it was an ad-lib in a song, but the real story is not where it came from, it's what the kids did with it. 6, 7 is a linguistic vibe. No definition, no context, no coherent meaning. It just sounds chaotic enough to be flexible and empty enough to be filled with whatever the speaker wants. That's why it spread. That's why it stuck. But that's not why it matters. Here's where this becomes really interesting to me. Kids aren't saying 6, 7 because they care about the word or the number or even the guy who started it. They're saying it because it's the password. It's a linguistic handshake. It's a verbal wristband for entry. When a kid screams 6, 7, what they're really saying is, I'm part of this world and you're either in it or you're not. The girls that get it, and adults, a lot of us, do not. We're on the other side of that velvet rope, trying to make sense of something that was designed quite deliberately to not make sense to us. This is actually one of the oldest tricks in the social playbook. Groups form identities by creating language that outsiders cannot decode. Historically, it's slang, jargon, inside jokes, dialect, stolen memes, TikTok sounds. Generation Alpha has simply weaponized chaos. They realized that the most efficient way to keep adults out is to communicate in pure entropy, because you can't decode nonsense. You can only participate in it. The thing is, meaningful words can be policed. They can be defined. They can be argued with. Nonsense, however, cannot. You can't critique something that refuses to hold still long enough to actually have a definition. 6, 7 is powerful because it is hollow. The emptier the term, the more flexible the identity. Anyone who knows to say it is instantly part of the in-group, and kids love that. Kids crave belonging, especially in a world where their social life is a hybrid model. Online, in person, it's multi-layered, it's always shifting, and 6, 7 gives them a temporary, portable, zero-effort identity. It's a quick way to signal, I'm one of you. It's belonging without commitment. Adults misunderstand this because we think that language is supposed to mean things, and kids understand that language is supposed to signal things, and 6, 7 signals membership. 6, 7 is absolutely about exclusion, and that's not a flaw. That's the point. Kids are using 6, 7 not to communicate information, they're using it to create discomfort in adults. And boy, are they succeeding.
My begonias!
I love that for them. They love that adults can't decipher it. They love that it annoys teachers. They love that it feels like a code. But unlike actual slang, where it eventually becomes mainstream, 6-7 stays eternally fresh because its meaning isn't real. The second adults figure it out, the kids can simply pivot and declare that it means something else, or nothing. Or they can just start yelling 4-3 and restart the cycle. 6-7 is a moving target. It is a linguistic mirage, and this is why 6-7 became a phenomenon, while other memes die in 2 business days. 6-7 is a joke. 6-7 is a boundary, and boundaries, especially social ones, are contagious. If we zoom in a little bit deeper, there is something very Gen Alpha about this whole situation. They live in a world where their identity is fractured and constantly being surveilled, online, in schools, by parents, by platforms. Everything they say and do is archived. Every opinion becomes discourse. Every joke becomes content. 6-7 gives them a safe zone where nothing can be extracted or taken out of context. 6-7 is anti-discourse. And yet here I am providing discourse on 6-7. What the hell? 6-7, it's getting hard to say. 6-7 is rebellion in the form of a number. The thing that adults never understand is that the moment you ask kids to not say something, you basically guaranteed that they're going to say it louder and for longer and with a new layer of ironic meaning. I was in a classroom recently where a teacher had written up on the board all of the different phrases that she was disallowing her class to say. All of them were these Gen Alpha phrases: Ohio, Sigma, skibbity toilet riz, a whole glossary of nonsense that she believed was distracting in her classroom. The thing is, the kids weren't annoyed, and they weren't even deterred. They were energized, because now it's not just a silly little joke, it's a game. Lost the game. I lost the game. My millennials and elder Gen Zs out there know what I mean, but we're gonna get to that in a second. When you try to get kids to exclude certain terms from their vocabulary, suddenly every sentence becomes a little stealth mission where every hidden, forbidden word is a victory against the empire. Adults accidentally create stakes where no stakes existed, and kids, who are evolutionarily designed to seek micro-rebellion, treat that as an invitation. By banning the language, you don't kill the trend, you actually solidify the trend. You turn it into contraband, into culture, into community, and kids always run harder and faster towards whatever lets them feel like they're in on something that the adults can't decode. There are so many similar examples of this phenomenon throughout history. I've mentioned a few of them throughout this video, but I'm gonna rapid fire some of them at you now and see if any of them click for you. Bye Felicia, catch me outside, how about that? Damn, Daniel. And I hope free Shavakadu. LeBron James, what are those? You did it at my birthday dinner. Bussin'. That's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Hey puss, how is she? And we can't forget the Giot. Good lord. To be real, this happens all the time, just usually not on a grand scale such as this. When I was in university, I had a friend and we would constantly back and forth say this phrase to each other. Fuck me up, fam. Okay, stay with me, right? Fuck me up, fam. It was late, we were in rehearsals, we're overtired, right? And I wanted to come up with the acronym for fuck me up, fam. FMUP, which turned into FMUP. And as soon as I said that out loud, that became something that we would bark back and forth at each other for the next, 3 years? We still say that to each other now that we're fully grown adults. And when people hear it, there is no way that they're going to logically understand what that means, because at this point, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. It builds connection. And that's the point. Everything becomes a reference of a reference of a reference of a mistake that nobody knows what it means anymore. It becomes cultural capital that is used exclusively apart from its original meaning. I'm gonna give you a few more of my personal phrases like this that I use with my friends to give you a sense of how it doesn't have to mean anything, it just has to sound funny or interesting to the person who says it. 6 more weeks of winter. That's a tasty lump of wedge. But as somebody who hates Ann Coulter, I'm delighted. With this neck, this woke-ass hospital, high-altitude potatoes. I have a list in my phone that's titled Quirky Bits, so whenever somebody around me says something that I find interesting, I make a note of it. And that list in my phone has thousands of entries. So the next time that a kid rides past you on an electric scooter screaming the number 67, don't overthink it. They're not summoning a demon, they're not harassing you, they're not joining a cult, and they're not doing anything sinister. They're doing something much more dangerous. They're building community. A chaotic, nonsensical, sometimes irritating little community. And honestly, it's kind of brilliant. The kids probably don't even know why they're saying it, but really, they don't need to know that. And it is a positive influence on these kids, even if it annoys the hell out of you, okay? But right now you need to lean in and promise me that you're going to continue to act confused because I don't want to ruin their joke, okay? They got a good thing going, but a lot of people have been asking questions and I just wanted to share my take on the matter. So anyway, that's why the kids are saying 6-7. I'm David They, this was Dismantling Hate, and I'll see you in the next one. 6-7.
My begonias!
4-3. I was in a classroom where they all started screaming that, and they're like, are you annoyed? I'm like, I'm not annoyed that you're saying a number. I'm annoyed that you're all screaming. You can say whatever you want, just please stop screaming. Ah!